home learning, we're also going to be talking about clubs, activities, resources, and parent support. Another topic we're going to be addressing as well is classes, what to expect, and what are some of our grading practices. Another cool thing that we're going to be sharing with you is an engagement challenge that we're going to be starting here real soon at Horizon. When we cover those topics, we're going to give you an opportunity to ask questions, and we will do our best to answer those. We're going to take your questions through the Q&A option on your screen. We will do our best to answer your questions. Please keep in mind that we're going to hold off on answering those questions until the very end. We thank you again and welcome. Go Hornets.
I'm Laura Friend, 6th grade science teacher. Students are using several online platforms to participate in school. All of them can be directly accessed from the Ferndale website. Look for those buttons on the next few slides. Email should be checked at least once per day. This is what the button looks like on the Ferndale website. Some students think that they are in their email when they are in Canvas, but they are not. We use Outlook email. Slide. Slide. Oh, there we are. Thank you. Canvas is our learning management system. Think of it as a virtual classroom. Canvas is where your student goes to find each of their classes. Each class has its own tile on their Canvas dashboard. Students should click into each class daily to find out what they are to do for class that day and to show their teacher that they are present. Canvas pages also have information about Zoom meetings, including office hours, and links that can help students with tech or content. Parents can sign up to be an observer for their student. Only one account needed for multiple students. There's a how-to located on the district website under Reopening Plan, Learning Management System, Resources, and how to create an observer account. Slide. And by the way, there's a Canvas app for mobile apps too. Edgenuity is the online curriculum. Think of it as a textbook. Students will spend a majority of time working here for classes. Parents can be added to view progress. Contact math teacher for that. Slide. Skyward is for grades and attendance. Activities from both Edgenuity textbook and the Canvas classroom are combined to show a semester grade in Skyward. Students should check Skyward weekly, and there's a mobile app for that one too. Think of iReady as a personalized textbook for math and reading. Individualized lessons based on student need. The additional minutes of iReady supports the Edgenuity lessons. Slide. Whenever tech help is needed, always try to restart your device. The phone number listed on this slide, 360-383-9228, will connect you to a Ferndale employee from 9 to 3 on school days. There is also on-site help available at Horizon, Mondays 1 to 3:30, as well as other buildings throughout the week. And there will be a copy of this presentation on our Horizon website for you to access later. Slide.
Hi, I'm Martha Deerstein, and I'm the counselor at Horizon Middle School. And I'm going to share some tips for supporting at-home learning. But before I do that, I want to let people know that two things. If you joined us late, we're going to be doing questions and answers at the end of our presentation, which we'll do live. And also we're recording this for people to be able to view later, and that'll be posted on our website. I want to let everyone know that If you have any questions, we'll do our best to get to them. If the Q&A button should be at the bottom of your screen. I want to first say that we realize how challenging virtual learning from home can be. And we understand here for many of you the challenges that you're facing. But we also say that we've seen great growth for many of our students as they navigate and learn to regulate themselves more than they've needed to in the past. So for students, here are some ways to best set up a good environment for home learning. Make sure your supplies are handy. Have a space for your device and a place to write. Optimize your Wi-Fi. Like, because I'm at home right now, I've come to a certain room where the Wi-Fi is better than other rooms, so I'm optimized my Wi-Fi for tonight. Make sure you're comfortable and ready to learn, that your to-do list is handy, and that your distractions are put away on silent and out of sight. Schedule. It's a good idea to pre-plan your day. Open each Canvas course and make a list of every assignment and activity you need to get done that day. And if you're behind in your schoolwork, add a couple of assignments to your to-do list that day so that you can catch up as time goes on. I'm sure many of you are getting familiar with our daily schedule and our routine. Here's an example of what our students do every day. And students are responsible for all of their classes every day. We suggest that students be up and ready, breakfast eaten if they eat breakfast first thing, and their area device set up and ready to go at least 5 minutes, if not earlier, before their first class. Students have a Zoom class in the morning, 4 days of the week. Advisory is always a Zoom class, and that's on Mondays and Thursdays, and that begins at 8:30. Zoom classes are then at 9, 10, and 11, and they should last anywhere between 40 and 55 minutes. There should be a 5 to 10 minute break between those classes. Students have a lunch break starting noon, and we suggest kids get up, move around a little bit, get something to eat, take a break, and then after lunch, students can return to their Canvas page and finish any remaining work that they might have left over from the morning classes. Plus, they need to remember to go to each Canvas page for the classes they didn't have in a Zoom that morning and complete any assigned work. And Wednesday is a different day. There's no Zoom classes on Wednesday. And like it says here on the schedule, on Wednesdays they're to check their Canvas for each of their classes and to complete any assigned work that their teacher has assigned for them. Supplies. So it's a good idea to be prepared for learning each day and having all your supplies in place and ready for the day, no matter where you're going to be learning. Many families are finding it helpful to put their supplies in a box or a basket, especially if you have multiple children at home. Parents and guardians are finding it's good to put things in one box, one basket, so each student can pick their things up and move if need be, and have everything in one place, safe and ready to go. And distractions. So creating the best learning environment for you. So like for me right now, I don't have my phone nearby. I have things on silent so that I can be focused on what I'm doing right now. So regulate the use of your phones, games, music, television, everything while you're learning. And a good idea that I know a lot of families are using is a student will do like 20 minutes or a certain amount of time of concentrated work and effort. And then they'll have like a 10-minute break or however minute break doing the things that they would normally distract themselves with. Instead of trying to text their friends during class or play their game during class, we suggest you do the class, your schoolwork, then take a break to reward yourself for getting that work done.
Hello, I'm Tim Kegley, Assistant Principal at Horizon. I'm going to share some information about clubs, sports, activities, and parent support. Mid-November, we'll be launching ASB elections virtually and begin regular ASB meetings. Horizon Middle School student clubs and associated student body will operate virtually through the end of first semester. Currently, we have 2 clubs and running, and we are in the process of phasing in more clubs. So far, we have a daily grub club during lunch with Counselor Miss Deerstein and Natural High Club with Mr. Saunders. Next week, we'll be starting up a weekly virtual book club in collaboration with Ferndale Public Library. We will be posting club information and what clubs to expect in the near future on our website. We'll also alert students and parents by email to new clubs. The Natural High Club is planning a cruise by event through our Ferndale neighborhoods this coming Saturday to celebrate being happy and drug-free. Kids will decorate vehicles to feature red ribbons and this year's theme. The caravan will be led by a Whatcom County Fire District 7 fire engine. Please join at noon this Saturday at the Vista parking lot. The event will begin at 1 p.m. and end at 2 p.m. Kids will receive a grab and go bag of treats for participation. All Ferndale School District families are welcome to attend. We are hoping to offer middle school athletic season this year. The soonest we could begin is second semester, February 2021. We will keep families posted through email and updates to our school website. We plan to offer intramural sports in collaboration with Vista Middle School. We want everyone to know some important library information. You can access the Horizon Library Catalog on the Student Resources page of the district website. Choose Destiny Library Sites and go to Horizon Middle School to see what is available. Students will get information about checking out books in advisory. Contact the office for more information. Ms. Martha Deerstein, our school counselor, Ms. Bryce Larson, our school counselor intern, Mr. Terry Saunders, prevention intervention specialist for Horizon and Vista Middle School, Ms. Jackie Posner, communities in school site coordinator, and Mr. Logan Toby, Native American student engagement liaison for Horizon and Vista, are here to support you and your student for all things adolescent. We provide resources, brief interventions, small groups, lunch groups, referrals to outside agencies, support for all things academic, social, and emotional via phone, email, and Zoom. See our Horizon Middle School Counselors Corner Canvas page for more information. If you like what you hear tonight and want more tips on how to help your child succeed during virtual learning, join the middle school counselors and other support staff from both Vista and Horizon, as well as other parents just like you for some ideas and support. You are not alone.
Hi, I'm Kevin Fineski, one of the math teachers here at Horizon. We're going to transition and talk about some of the classes your students take, what to expect, and how those are graded. First up, we have advisory. Advisory is a unique class here because it's the one class that your student will take all 3 years of middle school. That puts the advisory teacher in a good position to really serve as a student resource for anything school related. During the year, we provide lessons regarding academic support, community building, and social emotional learning. We use second step curriculum, and we've listed the units that we go through throughout the year. For 6th grade math, we have Tracy Kearns and Cynthia Ridings that teach 6th grade level. Tracy also helps out with 7th grade, as well as Melanie Helt and myself. And then for 8th grade, we have Melanie teaching as well as myself. Not listed, we also have a 7th grade advanced and an 8th grade advanced class, which is algebra. We've listed the lessons that we cover in Edgenuity so you can see how we transition throughout the year. The way our math grade is broken up, we have 40% designated for assignments, which are completion grades. We have Edgenuity coursework, which you get full credit if you work through all of the parts of each lesson. We also have iReady, which is an individualized personal path for each student. So we ask that students complete 20 to 40 minutes per week to receive participation credit for that. We also have 30% designated for quizzes, which are based in Edgenuity and are taken at the end of each lesson. And we also do 30% for tests, which are taken on Canvas using material pulled off of the Edgenuity course website.
Yeah, hello, I'm Mr. Diffley. I'm one of the 6th grade language arts teachers that your students might see. I teach along with Mr. Andrews and Mr. Shimmick, who is also has a helper there, a student teacher by Miss Miller. In 7th grade, we have Mrs. Meetencourt, along with Mr. Archer teaching your 7th grade students. And in 8th grade, we have Miss Gabrielson, Mr. Brown, and Miss Skews, who've been teaching 8th grade for a long, long time at Horizon. For our curriculum, we're mostly giving reading instruction through Ingenuity, supplemented by some iReady lessons and also some independent choice in reading. Whereas our writing will mostly be taught in teacher-led lessons in live Zoom classes. For social studies, I also teach 6th grade, along with Mr. Shimmick and Miss Miller. Miss Gabrielson has come down from 8th grade to teach one of our sections. We teach the ancient civilizations, starting with humans learning and starting how to farm with the big agricultural revolution. That's what we're doing right now. Going into the great civilizations of the Middle East and also of early Europe. In 7th grade, Miss Meetencourt is joined by Mr. Ritchie, who has been a Ferndale teacher for a long time, but this is his first year at Horizon. So I'm sure your students are getting to know him and getting to like him as a teacher here at Horizon as well. They focus more closer to home with Washington State, with the history of Washington State, as well as Washington State government, with some focus on Native cultures. In 8th grade, the trio of Gabrielson, Brown, and Skews go back to our whole country's history, going back to engage students with their exciting lessons to get them thinking about the issues and challenges and successes of our Revolutionary War up through the Civil War. For our grades in language arts and social studies, we are basing it largely on Ingenuity and Canvas assignments. Then there's a class participation grade and also an iReady participation grade in language arts. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Malia McDowell, a science and elective teacher here at Horizon. I'll be talking a little bit about some more classes we offer. If your student qualifies for an individual education plan, they may have an intervention class in math with Ashton Reardon, in language with Melissa Schwartz, or in social studies and writing with Allison Rosenberger. Our tech, health, and life management are for our sixth graders with Fred Morimer and Chad Heidel, focus on digital citizenship and learning technology tools. In 7th grade, with Holly Wibbins and Fred Morimer, they focus on a health class. And in 8th grade, the course is a health and life management course with Fred Morimer, Chad Heidel, and Joni Ligo. Science, I'm biased, I like it. In 6th grade, they may have either Laura Friend or Anne McGreevy. They focus on weather and climate, thermal energy, and plate tectonics, some earth science. In 7th grade, I teach alongside with Margaret Morgan. This year, we're working on some chemistry and a little bit of biology with human body systems, photosynthesis, and ecology. And in 8th grade, Jen Friesen and Margaret Morgan tackle the topics of space, forces, sound, and some more biology with evolution and genetics. This is the way our science grades are broken up. In 7th and 8th grade, 5% of the grade is a daily warm-up. 6th grade does that daily warm-up too, but it's included in their assignments grade for 35 or 40%. And then assessments make up the largest chunk of a science grade. 60% are based on quizzes and tests. At Horizon, we offer a lot of different electives. And this year, we have some academic support classes for 6th through 8th grade. For students who qualify, they can get some extra support with a title math or reading class. We have a new elective course this year called Middle School Success in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade that's focused on trying to support kids with the challenges that might come along with distance learning. We were able to maintain our LEMI leadership and LEMI language courses. In 7th grade, they focus on Lummi language, and in 8th grade, it's a leadership course about Lummi culture, past and present. And we have a music class for 6th graders to learn to play a band or orchestra instrument. And in 7th grade and 7th and 8th grade, they can take advanced band and orchestra. And I get to announce our very exciting school-wide engagement challenge. We know our kids are working really hard and they're doing a lot of great thinking, but learning from distance can be difficult. So we're going to work together to kick off a whole school-wide challenge in advisory on Monday, where each student will make a personal commitment to maximize their engagement and try to minimize their personal distraction in an effort to really up our school-wide engagement. It's going to be awesome. And that concludes the presentation portion of our open house. So now we'll do a Q&A. There's a Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom screen that you can use to submit a question. And just a reminder that this presentation's been recorded and it will be posted on our school website, so you can go back and watch if you missed anything.
Great, thank you so much for sharing all that information. And keep in mind that this is being recorded, so if you feel that you missed something, or maybe the information was going a little too fast for you, that this information will be accessible on our website at our Horizon School website. So we have quite a few questions that have come up, some really good questions. And I'm going to ask Margaret if she wouldn't mind, Ms. Morgan, to read those questions aloud, and then we will do the best that we can to answer those. I'm going to invite Ms. Britt and Mr. Keegley, part of the admin team, to help me answer some of the questions. And then we'll also include any of the other staff members that want to chime in as well, are more than welcome to.
Awesome, thank you. I'm Margaret Morgan. I'm a 7th and 8th grade science teacher at Horizon. Thank you for your questions. Keep your questions coming, and I will just read the questions and then we'll see who can answer them. So the first question I see in here is about in-person learning, and I know that's a question on a lot of people's minds. So I'm hoping either David or Faye or Tim might want to take this one.
So, you know, what I can say, you know, having a son that's a teenager myself, and knowing how much, you know, how important it is to have him on campus and in a building and learning, we know that that's the best model. You know, we want to see your kids. We want your kids to be in our building, but we also want to be very intentional. We want to make sure that we're safe, right? That bringing back kids is going to be, we're going to try to keep them as safe as we can. So with that said, we want to do it very carefully. So the plan that we are looking at is right now, and this was shared out also as part of our reopening plan that included feedback from a lot of people in the community, and it included feedback from parents, and included feedback from teachers and administrators. And this was all put together. So part of our reopening plan, we mentioned that we were going to be looking at our data and looking at bringing back the students that needed the most support first. And that's the next part of reopening. So what we're going to be doing here in the next couple of weeks is we're going to be looking at, okay, let's look at what students we need to be bringing back. We've already began those conversations. We've already started looking at who are those students that are struggling the most. So here in the next few weeks, these individuals, these students will be invited to be coming back and joining us in the building. Ms. Bridge, you want to add to that?
You did a wonderful job there, Mr. Rodriguez. It obviously is our goal to have our students back in school, back in class. The biggest challenge we have at secondary school is that one of the health and safety requirements is that we keep kids in small cohorts and small numbers. If you remember back to most of your, I'm sure, secondary educations, you go to your first period class, and then when you move on to second period, you're with maybe 1 or 2 kids from your first period, but you're with mostly very different group of students. based on all of the different pathways at secondary schools, both the middle and the high school, it is really, really hard to cohort students like it is at an elementary school when you're in one classroom with the same kids all day and you go to one specialist. So that's the biggest challenge we really have at secondary, is trying to keep our kids and our staff safe, and making sure that we don't kind of constantly, we'd end up with a cohort of 550 people if we were to even come in on a hybrid model, because people would be crossing from the A day to the B day, and with multiple students and multiple different classes. So that is honestly the biggest challenge that we have, is making sure we keep everybody safe, which is our priority.
And the one thing that I did want to share out is that if your son, your daughter is struggling in their classes and you feel that they need that extra support, please reach out to myself, our counselor, and Mr. Keekley, so that we can have those conversations and come up with a plan to best support your child.
All right, I notice in here we have an omission from our slideshow, that one of our elective courses that we do offer is Spanish. I'm sorry, we left that off. An 8th grade Spanish class elective that gives Horizon students the opportunity to receive high school credit for their class. And I also noticed something from our PTSO. Just scrolling up, here we go. The Horizon Middle School PTSO page on Facebook. You might want to check that out for some more information. I see a couple questions about attendance, some concerns about being absent on days that you're logged in, or was it the camera was off, or participation, and another question about attendance. Sounds like kids are feeling frustrated, families are feeling frustrated about attendance.
So I'd like to chime into that one, because I mean, doing everything that we're doing this year is so different, right? It's better than it was in the spring because we've had a little more time to plan over the summer, but it's still different. It's not what we're used to doing whether you're a student or whether you're a teacher. It's just doing something differently. So one of the challenges that we've had is definitely how we are doing attendance. So the first couple of weeks, it wasn't very pretty, and yes, it was hard, it was difficult. But I feel that we are definitely in a better place now, because now students are starting to get into routines. The one challenge that comes up the most in terms of attendance is that students need to remember to log into their Canvas for the classes that they're not in on the mandatory days. So for example, on a Monday, when you have your first, second, and third period for your mandatory meetings, that's pretty easy, because as long as you go into your Zoom, then teachers are going to count you as present. Okay, but you got to remember that you also have the responsibility to check into your Canvas pages for your other classes, for your 4th, 5th, and 6th period during the day as well. It's very important that you check into those, because that's how we're tracking attendance for those classes, is when you go in there. So we can track that information. So if your child is going in into their Canvas for 4th, 5th, and 6th period, then we will know. And that's how we're tracking attendance. And oftentimes what happens is students are either forgetting to do that, or they're doing it after a certain period, which is at the end of the day, which would for us would be about 2:30. So then if that happens after 2:30, oftentimes by then teachers have already taken attendance. So your child may or may not be counted absent, okay? So what we do is the following day, then if your child went in and logged into Canvas in the afternoon, let's say they go in at 5, then they won't be counted as present until the following day when we do an update on our attendance. So that's probably the most consistent challenge that comes up with attendance, and that's where a lot of our students are being marked absent. Mr. Keekley, do you want to add anything to that? Did I miss something?
Yeah, I think you got it covered, Mr. Rodriguez. Thank you.
I would just add that they should call the office if there's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
And I'll speak as a teacher. It's a lot of little bits and pieces to keep track of, and we're humans, we make mistakes. So please reach out to us and email the teachers if you think there's an error or if you have a question. I know all of your teachers would be happy to answer any question.
You know, it's new to all of us. We're all trying to figure this out together, and I know that together we can resolve this. And again, like Mr. Keegley said, if you do have a question or a concern, call the office and we will work it out with you.
All right, I have a question here that says, what does it mean when an assignment is locked, and how does a student make up missed work? Maybe Miss McDowell can answer this one.
Sure. In Canvas, assignments can be turned on and off by a teacher. So some assignments have an end date and they are not available to be done anymore. So I think when the students click on it, it says like that the assignment is locked. So I think that that would be a teacher by teacher situation. And I know personally, I have some assignments that I close after one day because that's the time period where they're good. And then others that I leave open. So if your child is looking at Skyward and seeing a list of missing assignments, I would say that for me, those ones are unlocked. They're always open in Canvas. But if they're trying to do an assignment that it appears locked, I think emailing that particular teacher would probably be the fastest way to get that resolved.
Thank
Did
you.
I answer that question?
Thank you. There's another question here. We supplied our student with his technology, but need a laptop now. Is there any technology left available to loan out? Mr. Kegley, do you have an answer for that one?
Yeah, so if you need a laptop, just call our main office and we'll listen to your situation. In most cases, we can help you out with that. Miss Britt, how's our inventory doing? Do you have any idea where we're at with laptops?
I am not sure. That'd be a great call to your built school, to Horizon, and then we can research that in the morning. So absolutely call in if you need it, and we will see what we can do to take care of you.
My understanding is there is a stock available now, so give us a call tomorrow, and it usually takes about 48-hour turnaround time.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Kegley. I see a question again about logging into Canvas every day for every period, both morning and afternoon. So you only need to log in once to all classes, but during the day before 2:30, log into every single class, whether you have a Zoom in that class or not. You should log into the class.
I know one thing that, you know, on a personal note, one thing that I've done with my son is we have decided to do our day at a glance, and we've just set 15 minutes to look at his whole day at a glance, which means he logs in for 15 minutes looking at, okay, what do I need to do in each of my classes today? And that has really made a huge difference, not only for attendance, but also in him planning his day.
Thank you. Another question about the routine and the schedule. The routine this year, school starting at 8:30, will be drastically different next year. A question about why, as a district, we decided to follow a different schedule than what a normal in-person school day would look like. I know I spent a lot of time working on it this summer, but I think maybe Ms. Britt could talk about the different conversations that we've had, different models that are happening in different districts. Ms. Britt, can you elaborate?
David, do you want to start? I saw you unmuted.
Oh, okay.
I have so much to say. No.
I know. Go on, you start.
You know, I did want to chime in because I remember participating in some of these conversations, not only over the summer, but in the spring. There was a lot of feedback from a lot of people, and a lot of that feedback came from our community, from our parents, from our students. Going back to the spring, one of the things that we noticed, the biggest challenge was that we noticed that our students were not engaging until after a certain time. So that was definitely taken into consideration. And I know that another piece of this, which also is very complicated, was also around transportation for our remote sites. So it's a combination of a lot of things, but I know that the big part of that was the feedback from the community for our start time.
Yeah, and I would completely agree with that. That was one of the biggest things we heard in the spring, was there was just so much and so much to process. And our middle school learners particularly, I just personally can't imagine having them on 6 hours a day, you know, Zoom open, and having to engage that amount. I know when I have meetings from 8 a.m. to 6, 7 p.m. On Zoom, it is incredibly difficult just as an adult. So to give our kids a chance to really kind of step back and take one thing at a time, it's one of the reasons that middle schools made the decision to adjust the schedule and not run the blue gold days this year, but just to try and provide our kids as much of a compact and concise schedule as possible, and giving them the opportunity to be kids as well. This is an incredibly stressful time. There is so much stress, and every single family is experiencing the pandemic differently. And we wanted to really, you know, make sure that we're still doing school and we're still learning and we're still moving forward in that learning, but that we're recognizing that people are in all sorts of different places right now.
Thank you, Ms. Brett. I see another question about, can students retake quizzes? Our student is having a lot of difficulty retaining information over this digital format. Ms. Friend, do you want to answer that question for us?
I was definitely nodding my head in empathy for this student, but I will certainly answer. Yes, we are definitely encouraging any student who makes an effort to get engaged or to improve, no matter where you're starting at, we are going to work with you. So the first step really is to contact, I mean, the teachers are trying to contact families, but it's taking time. So if you reach out to us, we will support you. A great way to do that, I noticed in the Q&A, one person was asking about support for kids at home. Well, teachers have office hours in the afternoon. So if your kid, you know, isn't able, it needs that assistance and that one-on-one, I didn't really get it during Zoom, right? They can drop in to their teachers in the afternoon and get that support that, unfortunately, of course, you know, parents who are working might not be able to provide. So retaking tests, talk to your teachers, but yes, we will work with you.
And I just want to chime in on what Ms. Friend just said. The reason that we created the schedule the way that we did was to provide those additional supports in the afternoon. Again, it was from feedback from our families. They felt that the kids needed some more support. So we want to make sure that we offered that, which also played a big role in putting the schedules together for this year.
Great, thank you. And if you have any questions about when the office hours are, they should be on the Canvas page. And if you have trouble finding them on the Canvas page, contact your child's teacher and they can hook you up with some office hours. Another question here about, can you log into Canvas before 8:30? And yes, you can. I know I encourage my advisory kids early in the morning, go through all of them, get the attendance part done. Ideally, you're going through opening each one and making a little checklist of what you need to get done that day and have your game plan ready, so you can be successful that day.
We also send out a form that students can use to also log down their information as well. Yes, Dearstein, do you remember when those went out? I know that we send that information out so that students can kind of track their activities, their daily activities.
You need to unmute.
The yellow cards we sent home, they were sent home at least a month ago, I would say. I don't have one here because I'm at home, but yeah. But we can send more. And I know I've been doing some electronically that I've been filling in and emailing to students. And I know teachers have been doing the same. So if people have a question about their class and when they're supposed to be where, it does get confusing. So
So you can contact your advisor, or you can contact Ms. Deerstein for some assistance, or the front office, and they can help you out with
both
that.
the ladies in the office are they've been doing a lot of those for students, I know.
Super helpful. Yeah. Okay, we have a question about how many clubs you can be in and how many clubs there are. I don't know if we have any more information at this point, Mr. Kegley, but.
Yeah, well, that's a really good question. Our plan as we phase in clubs is to schedule them so they don't conflict with each other, so that students can attend several clubs. I know in the presentation we spoke of 3 clubs, but I expect by the end of November we should have 3 or 4 more in place. A lot of it has to do with finding advisors for our clubs, but again, we should by the end of November have 3 or 4 more clubs. So stay tuned. We'll send you alerts via email to student email and parent email, which is if you have not supplied your email to our main office to put on Skyward, I would highly recommend that, because that is one of our best communication tools to parents on new and upcoming things.
Thank you, Ms.
Students may have to choose though too, because there may be some conflict because we only have so many people that will be available to run clubs and the times. So yeah, but we want to do it because we really want kids to connect. Because I know that I have a daily lunch group that meets called Grub Club. You can find out about it on the Canvas page, and sometimes we'll have anywhere between 3 and 9 students. It's usually the same, and we're hoping to branch that out if we get more. But oftentimes we just play games or talk, and it's really just about trying to connect students because we miss them for one thing, and they know they miss each other, and it's just tough. So we're just trying to figure out ways, how can we get kids to be able to connect with each other, to feel they belong to Horizon Middle School, to feel they have a school community, and having informal times on Zoom, even if it's only on Zoom, but it's still what we have. It's better that I'm finding it's really nice. Or just talking to some students. I'll call students. It just feels so good to hear their voices. So yeah. And feel free to provide any ideas that you may have for other clubs that we don't offer, because we're always looking at other possibilities, but more importantly to making sure that students have different options. So if you have any ideas for new clubs that we haven't had here at Horizon, feel free to share those ideas with us, and we will look at the possibilities of making those happen. Someone asked about, can students set up their own Zoom to connect with other students? And I can't answer that. I don't know if anybody else can that's more tech person than I am. A parent was wondering, can kids set up their own Zooms just to have social or study groups or whatever? I know many students do it on FaceTime, that they'll set up the computer, their phone, and do FaceTime while they're working on work. I don't know the student options side of Zoom. I know the educator side of it, but there are other platforms that students can utilize for sure.
All right, thank you. We have another question about where is the best place to look for tracking your students' progress, Skyward or Canvas? I don't know if somebody wants to tell me they want to take this question.
I'll take it. We recommend that you check Skyward for grades. It's the main platform that we're using for grading. Canvas can show you certain things, but it doesn't show you everything, and not all assignments will be hosted in Canvas. So when you're looking for a grade, look at Skyward. Oh, it also has attendance information, so.
All right, I see another question about the challenge, and I think that students are going to have to stay tuned until Monday to find out more about the challenge and what that looks like. This was just the sneak peek preview.
Because with the idea that when you're, if you're engaged, you're going to do better in class. So just trying to get students more engaged in their work. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see, there's one more asking for a recap about attending school in person. Do we have like the quick recap of that? Mr. Rodriguez, maybe?
We're going to be looking at bringing students in that are our highest need students right now. Okay, and we'll start inviting, those students will be receiving invites. Okay, and those students will be coming in here in the next quarter, which is the second week of November. But again, we're going to be looking at data, we're going to be looking at grades, we're going to be looking at attendance. There's a lot of information that we got to look at. And those students will be receiving invitations. And again, if you have a student here at Horizon and you know that they're struggling and you feel that, that they need to be here, reach out to us and we will have those conversations and see what we can do.
Thank you. I see a question asking what is the main difference between Canvas and Edgenuity? Miss Friend, she's all over this one.
Maybe. So Canvas and Edgenuity. So Canvas is literally like the classroom where we meet. Edgenuity is just a book. So imagine walking into a classroom and there's your textbook on the table. That's Edgenuity. And there's all kinds of stuff in that textbook, but that doesn't mean the teacher's gonna do all of it. They might choose a chapter here or do a page there. They may even choose one paragraph on one page based on what they're doing. But it's digital, so they can interact with it and they watch videos and they read and there's activities and questions. But it's just in that textbook. Canvas is so much more. Canvas is the teacher's bulletin board where there are announcements. Canvas is where, they check in for attendance because they've walked in the door. Canvas is where there are activities that support the lessons, but maybe the kids need a break from something in Edgenuity, or maybe the lesson in Canvas does it better than Edgenuity. And so the teacher creates something for them to do there. Canvas has a calendar feature. It's the bulletin board. It's how they talk and interact with that classroom. So Canvas is the whole package when you walk in the door, but virtually. Edgenuity is only the textbook curriculum piece of that whole experience. If anybody wants to add on too.
Thank you, Ms. Friend. See another question, a follow-up to our Skyward question about grades. So if there are missing assignments, is the grade that they see accurate? That sounds like a good math question. Mr. Fineski, you want to take that one?
Sure. So I find that Skyward tends to lag about a week behind the assignments, which allows the students to kind of catch up with the work if they are a little behind the class pacing. So Skyward is going to be the end all place for all of your grades. So it's a great place to see if something is missing. If something has been completed and is still showing as missing, I recommend emailing that teacher and just saying, hey, I noticed this was marked as missing. I was able to complete and list the assignment, and that will help it get updated. Typically, teachers will go through once, maybe twice a week to update those grades. So it's Skyward will be the place that is most accurate, but it takes a little bit of time to get all of the grades reflected as such. I do want to say though, in Edgenuity, if you want to see kind of the progress in real time, we do have the option to add you as a parent in Edgenuity to a student profile. So that's a way if you want to do more of a tracking mechanism to see how your student may be doing, you can contact your math teacher and ask to be added to the family portal in Edgenuity, and we will take care of that and add you. We also have the ability to get it to generate weekly updates sent to your inbox. So that might be helpful as well.
Thank you, Mr. Fineski. Some questions about support with at-home learning when you're at home by yourself. If you're at work and your student is at home, what kind of supports can we offer for that? If you're working outside the home and your child's watching younger siblings and they're struggling in classes, and I hear it, it's a struggle. What kind of supports can we offer? Looking for who would like to take this question. Ms. Deerstein.
I guess I would go back to, well, a couple things I'm thinking. One is thinking about the reaching out and letting us know. Maybe you already have let your teacher's advisory teacher know, or some of those teachers know that this is a really struggle, because we may or may not know that. I don't know how many more spaces there will be in our building for on-site learning, but we're definitely trying to bring as many students as we can that are finding that to be the case for them at home. I think the other things, getting some strategies that maybe we can help set up with your child or children, about setting up routines and schedules, because we're finding that makes a huge difference for students. It is a lot to navigate, and it's a lot for me to navigate, trying to do all the different platforms. And I ask a lot of questions. I ask a lot of help of my peers. And so, maybe one of his teachers or myself, or we can get him or her some support with a one-on-one person here that can get him help, with a routine, a schedule set up. We also have a community and schools person that might have some other ideas. Does anyone else have something they'd want to add to what I've said already? It's challenging. And I think that's where the routine comes in, and giving yourself and your child grace, knowing that you really are enough. And we know that it's stressful to all of a sudden be in this role where you're also having to make sure your kid does all their work. And it's just know that you're not alone. Not that helps take care of that situation, but anyone else?
I'd add to that. I just want to make another plug for office hours. I feel like when students are able to come by office hours, it's been really helpful, just to be able to interact kind of one-on-one with the student and have that space and that time to really sit down and answer specific questions. And just talking person to person can be really great, and build that community and build the rapport, and it kind of can help kind of re-energize the situation, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those office hours, the students can share their own screen also with the teacher. And that really allows the teacher to see into the student's world, what they're seeing on their computer, which is where all this learning is happening. So that's a great thing about office hours, is the one-on-one time where they can share their screen and we can walk them through things. Very, very helpful time. So make sure your kids are paying attention to those office hours if they have any struggle at all.
And again, if you don't know when they are, you can find them on the Canvas page of those teachers typically. And we've just compiled a list. So if you really can't find it anywhere, you can call the main office and they can let you know when office hours for most of the teachers.
Keep in mind that you can also reach out to your advisory teachers for support as well. I mean, that's why they're there. They're there to support you, to hear how it's going, not just if you have them for a class, but even outside of advisory, how's it going in all your other classes. So reach out to your advisory teachers as well. And I just want to, I want to remind our families how important it is to reach out, to have your children reach out during those office hours. Because think about it, if you were in school, if you were in a regular classroom and you were struggling in a class, what would our students do? They would go back during passing time and they'd stop by or before or after school and check in with the teacher and say, look, I'm really struggling with this. Well, that's exactly what these office hours are intended for, is for that type of support where you feel like that can't happen during the regular classroom for whatever reason. But take advantage of those office hours, because that's your time. That's your opportunity to reach out for that additional support that can happen on a one-on-one basis.
I do not see any more questions. So if you have any final questions that you're thinking, you could put them in the Q&A.
I just want to share, I see one thing that just popped up and it said, I want to thank all of our Horizon staff. We really appreciate you. And I couldn't agree more.
You know, our staff has been amazing and incredible. They put in a lot of work, a lot of hours beyond their call of duty. I know that a lot of our teachers helped us in a lot of the planning over the summer and have been really involved in the whole plan for doing remote teaching and remote learning. And you know, we have incredible people here that care about your kids, that want to see your kids, that miss your kids. And you know, we miss our students as much as they miss being in school. We miss them too. And you know, in a real world, we would love to have them in our building, you know, because we know that that's where, you know, the even more incredible learning and teaching happens. So we want to thank you for your patience and for you know, joining us in this journey of uncharted waters, because this is all new to us. We're all learning. We're all experiencing this together, you know, but we're gonna persevere and we're gonna move forward and we're gonna support each other. And I know that great things happen when we're all part of the same team. Okay, thank you all for joining us this evening. So again, this has been recorded and will be posted on our website. Have a good night, everybody.
Night.
Thank you.